everyone, welcome along to Oulton Park in the sunshine for round 8 of the Drayton Manor Theme Park MG Metro Cup. Conditions ideal for racing, and this championship of course ideal for newcomers to racing, as Barry Welsh found out.
Joe, always good news to have new drivers on the grid. Now I believe this is your first time racing.
Yes, it is. Very interested to see what happens, basically. I've been competing in drifting for about 5 or 6 years now, and I thought I've always wanted to go racing, and my dad used to sponsor touring cars back in the day, back in the 80s and stuff like that, so I used to hang out on the pits quite a lot. Always wanted to do it, and I finally got the finances together to get it done. So yeah, I mean, everyone I've met so far has been amazing in this championship. They're so friendly, been running over, helping me all over the place, giving me advice. So yeah, really quite more relaxed than I thought I would be.
Qualifying done, how did that feel?
Yeah, good. I mean, I've got, as I say, never been to the track before. It's a lot of firsts for me, and trying to just learn, what kind of entry speed I can take, and how fast, what kind of grip levels I've got. Because really, that's sort of just learning as I go. So yeah.
Normally, drivers have either done nothing or they've done karting or something to give them a bit of racecraft. Drifting, I don't think is necessarily going to help you.
No, I did watch a bit of footage. They do tend to go sideways a little bit, so hopefully I can catch it if it does that. And it did go out on me earlier, and I actually managed to blow a tyre up. Oh. So yeah, which is interesting. So it's good, my first time out ever. But so it's. The thing with drifting is the corner entry speeds are a lot quicker, because you're not slowing down before you go into the corner, you're slowing down as you're going round it. That's the sort of thing I'm trying to get my head round now, trying to not go too fast and just lock up and shoot off into the kitty litter. So,
Tim, been a while since we caught up with you. How's your season gone?
Not good. I've had more calamities as we go along, but I'm slowly getting most of the stuff fixed with the car. Well, we'll get there by the end of the season, just in time to start all over again next year.
Mechanical or driver?
Both.
Big learning curve then?
It's always a learning curve.
Character building.
Yes, absolutely, because people think you come out and you do the same thing every time, but you don't. Everything changes, different temperature, tyre pressures, a few small items, and it can make a lot of difference. So you've really got to get it all right on the day at that time.
Now, just one race here today, so you've got to sort of hit your ground running. You've done the qualifying, it's not too bad.
I got 9th, which is not good, but it's a start. The race will be better. I'm better at racing than I am at qualifying.
Great circuit here, though.
I love the circuit. I like long-flowing circuits, and this is a lovely long-flowing circuit.
Now, we've seen you most of the season. You've missed a couple of rounds due to holidays and other such nice things, but have we got you for the remaining 3 races?
Yes, I'm going to do them all now, and then hopefully I'll do them all next year. Try and get all 10 done.
To sort of keep the family away, then?
Absolutely.
Tony, great to see you back out on the grid for this penultimate event. Yes. Now, you're one of our more established drivers, many years doing this. How long have you been doing it?
I've been racing the Metro now for 29 years.
Past champion as well, so very competitive sort of driving. Now, we haven't seen you for all rounds this season, but you're still out there in the front end.
Yeah, we're trying to get in the top 6. Obviously, the K series are very quick. If I get in the top 6, I'm doing pretty well.
Now, Rockingham, pretty good for you this season.
Yeah, we had a good run at Rockingham, got a 5th. I have won in this championship at Rockingham a few years ago. Very hot weekend. Turbos don't like the heat too much, but it managed to stay together, and we kept going. So yeah, I was very pleased with Rockingham.
So 29 years driving in this championship. Why?
Well, when I started, I thought I'd like to have a go in that. So yeah, we did. We went with the Rover Metro Challenge first year in 1990, and then we just stuck with it. It's very good racing, cost effective. Yeah, I mean, obviously the newer cars are much cheaper to run the K series. It's a matter of getting all the parts for these. They're a little bit long in the tooth, but they are out there. You get them made. But yeah, it's a very competitive very competitive championship. Which is all the fun of it, really.
Tony Howe lines up on row 3, the outside of row 3. David Javes alongside him. Ahead of him, Dan Bowster on row 2 with Dan Willars, and Shamak Glodek with Jack Ashton on the front row. Shamak's first pole position of the year. Congratulations to him. Lights out here at Oulton Park, round 8 of the 2018 Drayton Manor Park MG Metro Cup is underway, and it's a great start by Jack Ashton from the outside. Shamak second, up into 3rd place goes Dan Willars, then it's Dan Bowster. Willars goes wide, and some people coming out in sympathy. 2 spinners there, I think, reacting to that. 72 John Moore, and the new driver, car number 88 Joe Ball, very much a reaction. Great that they've spun harmlessly, other than maybe a little bit of a dent in the ego, but thankfully not damaged cars. I think that's Melanie Trevette going through. Both drivers have recovered and got underway. They'll be able to enjoy their race, we hope, incident-free. Fingers crossed. Now keep your eyes on the purple and green car of Andrew Ashton, who started in 15th place on the grid and has overtaken a lot of cars on lap 1. We'll come back to him because we're on board with Shamek Glodek looking at Andrew's brother Jack, the race leader. Andrew going through. There is Mark Eels in the 44 car dicing with Richard Garrard. Garrard 5th in the championship. Mark Eels is 4th in the standings coming into this race. We'll talk about drop score scenario a little bit later on. But out front, it is Jack Ashton. Shamek Glodek next up. Phil Goodwin in white, coming under pressure from Tony Howe, with Andrew Ashton now ahead of him and in 5th position from the back of the grid. So the Ashton brothers, who have been setting the pace in this year's championship, look like they're going to do so here again. But this race, of course, is about the entire field, and you'll see battling all the way down the field, right the way through this single race for you this weekend at Oulton Park. It's one of 2 events where we just have the one race, the other being Silverstone at the start of the year. And it sets us up rather neatly, I think, for rounds 9 and 10 doubleheader at Snetterton at the end of September. Andrew Ashton goes through on the inside line, passes Dan Willars, the Manchester man, so a home race for him. It gets relegated to 5th position. And Andrew Ashton's got some work to do to close in on Dan Bowster. The yellow and black car just going out of shot. Got a car coming into pit lane, which might be Mark Eels. That's a shame. And there's going to be a dent in the championship hopes of Mark Eels. We've got 63 championship points available from this weekend at Oulton Park, round 8, round 9 and 10 at Snetterton. You get 20 points for a win, an extra point for fastest lap. If you finish a race, you enter a race, you get a point for a non-finish anyway, which keeps you on the scoreboard. There is John Moore, hoping to break into the top 10 for the first time. Had a retirement at Donington last time out. And a great shot. This championship is about experienced drivers, but also about newcomers, as we heard from Barry. It's a super place to come and cut your teeth. And whatever level of racing drive you are, whether a newcomer or a veteran, there is somebody to race with, either at the front if you're a quick newcomer, or maybe a slow learner, as I would be, you can race mid-pack. David James in the orange 96 at the moment, busy chasing Tim Davis and other drivers that Barry spoke to before the start of the race. Richard Garrard up ahead of them. Dan Bowster being closed down now by Andrew Ashton in the 97 car. Andrew not close enough to challenge at the minute, but you get the feeling that over the course of this race he will do so. Tim Davies in the 29 coming under a little bit of pressure here from David Javes. David's best this year, 4th position at Rockingham race 2, round 5 of the championship. Shamek's got a little bit of a gap to catch up at the moment as we spot Dan Willard still running in 5th place. Tony Howe in 6th position, trying to close down on him, and I think is starting to get a little bit closer. Phil Goodwin is in behind. Then the blue and white car of Richard Garrard out of Lodge Corner through Deerleaf, and they'll tick off another lap here, head down towards the first corner on the circuit, Old Hall. Meanwhile, our 2 recovering drivers doing well. All 3 of those, if you look at the back of these cars, all got the new driver insignia, just to emphasise the point that this championship does cater very ably for new drivers to racing. And Joe's having a look down the inside line. Mel Trevette in the 95 car is past, gap on the inside line. That was great experience for Joe Bull, his first race, having, as you heard, coming out of the drifting environment. It's car control is going to be good for him for sure. The other drifting exponent or convert that I can think of is in the British Truck Racing Championship. Ryan Smith moved over from drifting into truck racing as opposed to car racing, and has made a big success of it, a multiple champion, making the cross of disciplines. Tony Howe still running well. Shamek Glodek in black is 2nd, goes through shot, and coming down into his lots now. Dan Bowster 3rd, from Andrew Ashton in 4th place. Tony Howe in 5th, now up ahead of Dan Willars. So Tony Howe looking pretty good at the moment, comes through Knickerbrook. The race leader though is still Jack Ashton, championship leader by my reckoning on drop scores. Only drops 1 point out of his 127, which leaves him on 126. Andrew Ashton on 114 has 130 total points, but loses 16 points from either round 1 or round 4, depending on how you look at it. But now we've got a little bit of pressure being applied here by Andrew Ashton on Dan Balster. This is for a podium position. Andrew Ashton looking keen here. Where's he going to make his move? Is he close enough to have a look as they go down into Old Hall Corner for the next time? He's a couple of lengths back at the minute. Meanwhile, we've got a quartet headed by Phil Goodwin and backed up by Tim Davies, who's trying to close in on the orange machine of David Javes, looking relatively settled at the moment, but watch out here for Andrew Ashton closing up on Dan Balster. He's got a good run by the look of it and fires his way through on the inside, the exit of Cascades, going along Lakeside. He's up into 3rd place. His next target is going to be Shamak Glodek, who's running in 2nd position at the moment. Jack Ashton still the leader. Fastest lap is with Jack Ashton on lap 3, 2 minutes 5.012. Peter Coleman in white up ahead of Joe Ball, and Joe getting stuck in pretty well and enjoying his race as we watch the 3rd place car, Andrew Ashton, up ahead of Dan Balster. So good racing between these two at the moment. Welcome back to Oulton Park. Race leader is Jack Ashton in the 98 car, well clear at the moment of Shamak Glodek in 2nd position, pole position man, and that's the view that Jack wanted from his onboard camera. Clear circuit. Peter Coleman up ahead of John Moore in the 72 car, and immediately ahead of them our newcomer Joe Ball. Meanwhile, Phil Goodwin chasing the blue and white car of Richard Garrard, with David Javes in behind. Now they've got a fair amount of clear track ahead of them, as the 96 car of Javes moves down the inside line past Phil Goodwin. Nice, very neat pass there. That's exactly what this championship is about. Everyone wants to take their car home and go to work the following day and not have to do too much to the car. As Goodwin is going to fight back, he's going to have a look at the inside line. He's not been lost at all, so it was a clean pass, but also a fair fight going on between those two drivers. John Moore with Joe Ball up ahead of him at the moment, and the number 17 car of Peter Coleman is there as well, on board with John Moore, trying to close down, coming up into Lodge Corner, and a moment for Coleman. He's off on the dirt, loses 1 place, loses 2. I think Mel Trevette might go through as well, because it's a quick reminder that Mel Trevette, who's coming through now to make that pass, the only lady in the championship this year, shares the car over the years with her daughter Kyla Birdseye, so it doesn't actually matter male or female, they all come and race together, which is superb. Phil Goodwin still trying to get back on the case of David Javes. He's not too far away, is he? Making a little bit of a move there going into Britain's. You could class that as the back straight here, but punctuated by a couple of chicanes. Shamak Glodek 2nd, being closed in on now by Andrew Ashton, who is in 3rd. Shamak will afford a look in the mirror. He's going to be thinking it's only a matter of time before the purple and green car is upon him. Certainly Andrew Ashton putting in some good laps and lapping like his brother in the 2-minute 5 bracket. Shamak in the 2-minute 6s, which is consistent with his qualifying pace here around the Oulton Park International Circuit, 2.692 miles long. So it's a long lap. The Ashton brothers, the only drivers in the 205s at the moment. Shamak went a little bit wide there. That won't help his cause as we watch Tony Howe up ahead of Dan Willars. 5th position for Tony Howe at the moment. completes another lap. Dan Willars, of course, was challenging for a podium spot in the opening lap before he went slightly wide, or the first couple of corners. So David Javes still piling the pressure on here, but can't seem to find a way past Richard Garrard. It's the Milton Keynes band that holds sway at the moment. Those two starting to pull clear as Joe Ball, our new driver, coming under pressure from John Moore. John started ahead of him in the grid, started 10th place. Joe Ball was 14th on the grid. And then Melanie Trevette is behind them. And then Peter Coleman, after his little errand moment, hasn't managed to make that much ground up, but he's significantly still on track. And talking of being on track, we've only had one retiree so far. Mark Eales retired after just one lap. David Javes having a good look now. Richard Garrard still out front in this battle, which is for 6th place at the moment. The battle is on for 2nd though, because Andrew Ashton is closing in. I don't think he's going to have time in this race to catch his brother Jack. And look at the pressure on here. Looks to the inside line. Shabak's got that covered. He's not going out too wide, so this is very definitely defensive, but it does leave a space on the outside line now for Andrew Ashton to go level with him. We're on board with Shabak now. Look across. Got a black and white flag going out. That is probably going to be for track limits, I would guess. We'll get more news on that for you as and when. As sweeping through into 2nd place goes Andrew Ashton. Shabak down to 3rd position. New driver to the championship last year. And has done very well in... And there's problems for Tony Howe from 5th place. Tony Howe is slowing down and finds himself down the order now. Is he going to be a retirement? Perhaps I spoke too soon about retirees in this one. A shame to see. Going off over on the dirt is David Javes. That's not going to help his course to try and close down on Richard Garrard. Richard, remember, 5th in the championship. David Javes is 7th. Richard on 75 points. David Javes coming into the meeting tied with Dan Balster. So Dan will consolidate that, maybe move slightly ahead. We'll need to check the arithmetic before the end of the race. Here, meanwhile, comes John Moore with Joe Ball chasing. Mel Trevette chasing after them as well. Mel herself, remember, 9th in the table in this one, and Phil Goodwin could find himself up in the top 10 as well. So there are changes afoot, including the overall totals, and I reckon Jack Ashton here with the win will top the table now. It will be on actual points scored, if things stay the way they are at the moment, move on to 148. 147 after his drop score of 1. Andrew Ashton moves up to 147, minus 16, 131 points. But the championship leader will be outright and on drop scores, which the purists will say that's okay. I personally applaud drop scores. You can see Shabak not losing out too much to Andrew at the moment, but it's Jack Ashton, the purple and white car, who is the race leader. We're on board with the 3rd place man. Pole position set, a first pole position for him, and the first driver other than Jack Ashton to do that. Fastest laps over the course of the season have been shared out between Dick Trevette, Andrew and Jack Ashton, and Shamek Lodek at Donington Park Race 2. It's Jack Ashton with fastest lap here. That, I think, completes all our statistics for you in what's been an entertaining race. John Moore up ahead of Melanie Trevette. We have sadly had a couple of other retirees now, but John's still working hard, as is Richard Garrard. 6th position for him at the moment. David Javes in orange is in 7th place and busy chasing Dan Willars, 5th position. The red and white car just going out of shot. So the top 4, Jack Ashton, Andrew Ashton 2nd, Shamek Lodek in 3rd place. Dan Balster is in 4th still in the yellow 999 car, and on board with Shamek on this last lap, trying to close down. He probably knows it's going to be a podium for the 77 car, a 3rd podium of the year. But Jack Ashton, the race leader, comes through Hislops and Knickerbrook now, exits the chicane. He'll climb up Clay Hill, the double apex corner at Druids. On board now with the race leader. It's been a super race for him, starting superbly from the outside of the front row to get the drop on Shamak at the start. Here we are on board with him, exiting Druids under the Poole Warwick Bridge, heading up towards Lodge Corner for the last time. This is second and third, Andrew Ashton second, but the 98 car of Jack Ashton will take the overall points lead here, as well as the drop score lead by my maths, all provisional of course. My maths is always very provisional, but nothing provisional about this win. Jack Ashton will take the checkered flag here at Oulton Park in round 8. And we'll have to wait a few seconds before we see Andrew Ashton now cross the line, now 7 seconds down. Shamak Glodek in third completes the podium with Dan Bowster in fourth. Confirmation of the result: the Ashton brothers, Jack from Andrew, Shamak next, Dan Bowster, Dan Willars fifth from Richard Garrett and David Jace, Phil Goodwin in eighth from Tony Howe, and John Moore rounding out the top 10. Melanie Trevette finishes in 11th place. Peter Coleman completing the finishes in 12th fastest lap to Jack Ashton.
Good lead, certainly for the first half of that race. I thought with Shamak and then Andrew sort of having a bit of a tussle, they probably held each other back, to be fair.
Yeah, I could see it in my mirrors all sort of appearing, and I just knew that as my advantage really. And I knew with the time that Andrew caught Shamak up that he didn't really have enough time to get on the back of me, and if he did I could have started pushing harder again because the tyres were still good condition. So yeah, no, it's quite a, let's say, simple race when it comes to like looking after the car.
Final event coming up, double header at Snetterton, which we normally do at the end of the season, but the 300 circuit's a bit of a change.
Yeah, it's interesting. Really looking forward to it actually. Done a few sim racing at home on circuits. I've got the slight advantage over a couple of people that haven't raced it before. Very interesting circuit, very technical, so I think it could bring some good racing really.
Andrew, what a fantastic race. Now, first of all, why did you start at the back?
So in qualifying we had an issue where I went out for about a lap and the gearbox breather decided to jump out, and so did half the contents of the gearbox itself, so the oil went everywhere in a big cloud of smoke and choked me out, so I pulled off straight away without completing a lap, so I had to start right from the back basically.
Now, not a disadvantage though. 2 or 3 laps in, we're already halfway through the pack, no problem at all, and then you're sort of aiming for the top 3.
Yeah, so it's always, you've got, even though you think you've got time to get through the pack, to pick off so many as many as you can off the line. I've got a good run off the line. It could have been even better if I didn't get pushed out on the first corner. But yeah, that put me in a good position. Then I just catching them one by one really. So.
Shamak started on pole position, so obviously a great qualifying to start off with, and then what a fantastic race.
Yeah, it was cracking. Couldn't believe it when I put it on pole. We're just laughing, pole on pole. Great season for me. I can't. It's third podium in this season. I was just focusing on the start to get a good start, to be beside Jack, not to let him through. He did go through, and then that's what I was trying to keep up with him for the first two laps, and he just went. So I was looking in my mirrors, I could see Dan. So I was literally maintaining the gap with Dan, and I seen Andrew. And I was like, ooh, that was quick. He came from the back to behind Dan, and then he got Dan within 2 laps. We came into the first corner side by side. It's a bit. I had to slow down because I didn't want to hit him. And yeah, it's just still third. Starting second season on pole, finished third podium in the second season. I can't ask for any much. Many more. It's been amazing.
Very well done to all of our drivers here at Oulton Park. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to your company next time at Snetterton.